think Stingray, you think Orion, but on the other side, Megd has been rocking out with this Val as of late and getting immaculate results. So we'll see how this goes as we start off game 1 on the Fortress of Lion.
All right, and Stingray with the lance going in with that down air. Has the lance picked up. D-Light comes through and Megd with the pummel down. Sig comes through with the shuriken, and Stingray reverses the reversal with an air and recovery nair, side air. Megd sweating, just barely avoids getting hit with that recovery. The down sig from Stingray is already going in and certainly bringing the pressure onto Megd here in game number 1.
Oh man, the way that Stingray exerts pressure, he just jumps at you and then immediately falls back down to go ahead and refresh his jumps. But in that time, he's really trying to bait you to see if you do an option. And Megd has already been caught on that a few times, gets caught by the reverse nair into the recovery. And now that he has the spear in hand, you know that down sig that we were hearing the analysts talk about before is going to come out any moment now. But he actually swaps back over to the rocket lance.
Yeah, Stingray so fantastic. The down sig and the recovery comes through, and Megd was just constantly on the run from the pressure that Stingray is able to do, and those combos, he was switching weapons in the middle of them and still non-stop attacking, non-stop either forcing a dodge or getting tons of damage on the Megd, but Megd tons of damage in return. Let's see if he can get the stock pretty quickly before Stingray is able to run away with a huge lead.
Oh man, and this is the terrifying thing, right? When you're playing against Orion, something that you have to deal with that you may not have to deal with as heavily in other matchups is weapon throws. Like, yes, everyone has access to it, but with weapons that large, it's really, really tough to work your way around them. Even if you manage to spot dodge or dodge through them, you may still find yourself getting hit by a follow-up attack. So we'll see how Megd deals with that.
Yeah, and they're so wide. Orion is one of a kind when it comes to those weapon throws covering as much area as he does, and Stingray has those setups prepared. We saw him already getting one knockout with them already, and Megd not being able to take the stock from Stingray. Only sword sidelights connecting here, and it will be a long. Actually, I just don't think you can ever knock out with them, but with a sword side air, even if it bounces off the stage, that will do it, and Megd brings it to a 2-2 stock situation.
Okay, and Stingray looking for that weapon spot, manages to pick up another rocket lance, and Megd is trying to go ahead and make up for some of this damage deficit. But one sword end light versus the 3 different attacks from Stingray that have now connected is not going to be enough if Megd wants to bring himself back into this game.
Nair comes through, trying to land onto the stage, falls down with that. No, okay, goes for the side air instead, and Megd goes for the neutral air, wrong direction, gets punished, gets hit by the recovery, sent flying, and that recovery comes through, and Stingray takes a huge lead here in game number 1, throws that spear off to the side, and the lance comes out as he continues to put on the pressure for Megd, who picks up a sword. Let's see what Megd can do.
And this is so rare because one of the issues that Megd is running into is that he's trading too much with Stingray. A lot of the times, he'll hit Stingray maybe one time, and Stingray immediately answers back with 1, 2, sometimes 3 different attacks, and when you're behind, that cannot happen.
Man, I love the pressure coming up from Stingray's lance. The downlight into neutral light, stutter step forward, trying to find another downlight starter, and Megd only getting 1 hit at a time is now equal in damage despite being down in stocks, and Stingray with the spear falls to the nair, tries to get another one as he ladders Megd up towards the top of the stage, and we might be seeing that down to come through for the finish here that Stingray has so much made a name for himself with, but no, double D-Light recovery will get the 2 stock in game number 1 as those stuff recovery effects come out, and Megd has no dodge in sight to avoid losing that stock, and Stingray super handedly takes game number 1.
This is what I was talking about, Taza. Like, yes, the game count, the set history, all say that Megd should be the one coming out on top here, but Stingray has proven, at least in this game 1, that he is very easily able to secure confident victories over Megd.
And here we go into game number 2. Stingray on the Black Knight. Megd staying with the Val. We're on Demon Island here. And the down 6 that we saw Megd connect in game number 1. This time ready for. Stingray is now doing so well here with the spear. Dashes and gets the D-Light, but doesn't get the side air afterwards. Really trying to go for a hard bleed there, and Megd is able to escape it.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes, because that's one of the things that Stingray likes to go for. Most people go for that side light, or rather D-Light Sair, but Stingray likes to go for the D-Light Nair because depending on what part of that circular hitbox of the Nair he gets, sometimes he's able to get an extended follow-up. But that time, just missing the jump input, but that's going to be okay as Megd saying, all right, yeah, I know that last game didn't look so great for me, but in this game number 2, I think I'll be able to answer back.
Nice recovery there towards the top. Does not get the knockout there, but Stingray falls in with that down signature. Pogo comes through, and he's looking for the signature knockout. Recovery, not going to do it just yet, but Stingray is 1 lance or spear recovery away, and you can see that as he's letting them all rip. Stingray looking for that 1 attack, and now Megd falls down. Does not get hit by the down signature, but that silent recovery will hit the stock, and Megd, despite all of those hits coming out from Stingray, gets that stock there.
Okay, and now Stingray saying, all right, I need to go ahead and find myself something here to go ahead and bring myself back. And it's going to be the ground pound, the desperation ground pound. Doesn't matter how good at the game you are, it's going to work on you no matter what.
And now Stingray falling down with that down light. Megd goes in for the neutral light, and he's trying to get a bigger lead here going into game number 2. Stingray falls with an air, gets the weapon throw forward in the down air, into double down air, does not catch Megd unaware, and he gets that silent recovery in the air. Gravity cancel, neutral light brings Stingray up to the left side of the stage, and the neutral sig just barely stopped by the quick recovery from Stingray. And with that down sig, Stingray starts to come back on the second stock situation.
Okay, now Stingray sitting on the side, going ahead to go ahead and pick up that rocket lance. Is going to see if maybe goes for the read there. Doesn't do the end sig on the right side though. Oh, hold on, does Megd get the punish here? Beautiful back step to go ahead and get the spacing correct, and wanted to down air him off the stage, I think, but just got in a little bit too close and ended up bouncing off the base platform from Demon Island, but finds the recovery anyway.
Yeah, nicely done with the recovery there, and Megd is not at a point on this stock yet where a recovery could come through and knock him off the top. Stingray now picks up the lance, falls to that side air. Edgeguard here could be huge, weapon throw and pick up, no, down sig dodged up and through. Neutral sig does not jump into it, and Megd gets a nice neutral light into side air to get some more extra credit here on this stock for that side air. No, doesn't take him down. Megd coming down, uses all of his recovery options, and Stingray, instead of going for the edgeguard, swaps over to the spear, gets the jump, and makes the game even 1-1.
Okay, and here we go. Stingray, of course, I mean, this would be a great return to form for him. Not to say that like he's ever fallen off. I mean, he's PR2, but I mean, just like to make it this far at the World Championship, someone who kind of exploded onto the scene around the same time as Megd and Java, this could be a big one for him.
And Megd with that D-Light side air catches Stingray before he lands on the stage, has to dash forward or dodge forward into recovery to be able to stay alive. And look at that, go into recovery. We saw him get a great stock in game number 1 with that, and he's brought back game number 2 doing just the same thing, but he still has to close this out, and Megd has a slight advantage. Side light stuck by one dare. D-Light into the down signature. He waits, like you said, Flambo, what a read off of that side light. Waits in place, kind of stutters forward, gets the reaction, and that down sig takes him off the right side, which is just absolutely classic Stingray when it comes to finishing off last stock situations. I saw that on the side stream earlier on today when he went to game number 5 against Sandstorm. Looked like he was going to lose it, and clutches it with just the same move there, and while behind does it again here against Megd, and now he's 1 game away from moving on to fight Kaina here at BCX.
I'm actually really happy that you mentioned that, because I did end up talking to Sandstorm a little bit earlier. I was like, what happened? And he was like, bro, I should have won, but I dodged down twice versus Stingray, and it cost me the entire set. And I mean, look, he gets it again.
That's right, dodge down versus Stingray is definitely, well, when you're going to do it, you got to make sure that you're absolutely in his head, because Stingray loves to punish that with the down sig on either weapon, and the lance and the spear are both fantastic at it. As we saw with that dodge down right there, that down sig does a ton of damage to Megd here in game number 3, and the neutral sig just barely avoided as Stingray's continuing to run away with the lead.
Okay, it's Stingray with the gravity cancel D-Light, barely off the ground, but enough to give just a little bit extra bit of verticality to go ahead and set up for that side signature that was more than enough to secure the KO. And just like that, Stingray is looking so dominant here. Now in that game 2, it did look like Megd was potentially going to be able to get that game, but now it's looking like this might just be a clean Stingray sweep.
And you know when Stingray is really feeling it, when he gets those side signatures on those landings, just surfing across the stage, but Megd definitely not one to be out of the game just because of a simple side sig knockout. But look at that, D-Light and the ground pound after a super extended edge guard brings it back 2-2, and just like you were saying, Flambeau, looked like a huge lead for Stingray, and Megd just evens it up right away.
And I love the fact that Megd was able to clean that up, because we saw Stingray charging that recovery on the rocket lance, and Megd went for a weapon throw but didn't line it up proper, and I was like, you botched the edge guard, but no, Megd persisted and found that unarmed D-Light ground pound, and that's how this game is as close as it is right now.
Oh, and 2 recoveries from the sword, just catching Stingray out of position in the air. That time Stingray does not get a good read off on the side light, and the neutral light catches Megd actually dashing backwards. Recovery in the air, goes to the weapon throw, pick up downer on the lance. Nair does not get the jump read, and Megd stays grounded, holds his form, and gets the neutral light afterwards, as he's not letting Stingray pressure him into going into the air against his lance.
Okay, Stingray looking for that side light to try and set up for a Nair and then potentially a neutral signature read, but that's twice now. He's managed to hit Megd with that D-Light into the side signature.
And the D-Light recovery comes through here, and Stingray definitely waiting for that dodge in place, that dodge down read, waiting for the spear to spawn in here. Will the weapon spot be perfect for him? It is, and goes for the recovery. Megd going high. high. Stingray reacting to where Megd is going to go here, but I feel it. Flamble the down. It could be huge. He gets stuff out of his recovery here, and Megd staying grounded. Gets sared in the back of the head, and Stingray is one stock away from eliminating Megd from BCX.
And at this point, if you're Megd, I think your win conditions are, I can't get hit by Spear Sidelight because I've been losing this mini game the entire set, right? And on top of that, I can get hit by apparently downlight from Rocket Lance. It's a weird thing for me to say. Usually that's one move you're fine getting hit by, but every time Stingray lands it, he almost deletes the stock.
And the side stick from Megd comes in with the punish there, but a ton of damage was taken there because you were talking about the downlight. One downlight came through. Stingray chase dodge directly up. Nothing followed. The second downlight comes through. He gets the dodge read, and he nearly carries Megd down off the right side of Demon Island for the win. Megd comes back, gets the punish, but still the damage was dealt. Stingray now has to finish this one stock, but Megd, if he can do it, could bring it to a game number 4.
Okay, this is going to be a tough one for Megd here, trying to slow things down a little bit, kind of the style we're used to seeing from him, but Stingray is just so good at picking where to place his hitboxes, but he doesn't have a whole lot of tools here. That's a pretty much guaranteed ground pound. Can he make it back? Another
one more time, but Demon Island sword to recover on, and
he's
there!
clutch! He's clutch! He says, I don't want to go to a game 4. I want this to end now, and finds his way back onto the stage, but he still needs to find the KO as Megd is showing signs of life here. The vital signs are still showing some weight.
D-Lab recovery, does he get it? He gets it. It's Stingray after a remarkable recovery on the right side of the stage. 3-0s Megd and moves on here at BCX to fight Kaina.
Oh man, Stingray, that recovery off the left side of the stage was so clutch. Megd was doing everything so well, trying to clutch it into a game 4, but Witty, this Stingray, shows why he comes out on top. And is going to be moving on forward, I believe you said, to fight Kaina?
The fight Kaina. It is a stacked bracket there in the lower side, in the elimination bracket here at BCX. I mean, we got Kaina, PR 1 in South America, and then PRs 1, 2, 3 from North America, all lined up, and only one is going to be able to come out on top going in the top 3 here. We're looking at the replay coming out from Stingray there for that win, and just a nod going like, all right, it's a 3-0 and a head nod. He knew he had that one, and getting that first win over Megd officially on the board means that he's going to be moving on feeling confident for the rest of BCX.
Just like that, man. Stingray, I spoke to him on Dream once, and he said, if I win BCX, I'm going to try to get some of that Flambeau techware, so hopefully he'll be able to do that. But before we find out, let's go ahead and see what the analysts have to say about that set.
The last Canadian has been kicked out of the tournament. It's all USA as well as 1 European and 1 South American. Stingray gets his first set win over Megd here at the BCX stage. Zip, how you feeling about that set?
I'm going to answer your question with a question. Do you know how much a chimney cost?
No.
It's on the house.
Oh.
Yeah, you know what that is? That's getting free. You know what I mean? Stingray kind of freed that up. You know what I'm saying? You know what? Let me go and disclose. I don't want to do that to Megd. Megd played a great set, but Flambeau's partner told me that joke last night, and I told him I was going to use it.